All right, guys, thanks again for joining me. This is Kevin Cat's Pajamas Naki here for the IGN Pro League. This is more bonus coverage out of the qualifiers. Basically what we did, some of the games were casted for the IPL Season 2 qualifiers, but there were a lot of great games throughout the brackets that simply didn't or simply weren't able to be casted because of how much time it would have taken. So now we're turning around, we're casting those for you now. This is a matchup actually in qualifier number 2, so we are back on the newest patch. From qualifier number 2, this is round of 5-12 action between VTspades, spawning as our red Taran player down here in the bottom left-hand corner of Zelnaga Caverns. His opponent here in the top right-hand corner from Team Millennium is Stephano, throwing out the good luck, have fun there. He is our pink Zerg player. So, Zerg versus Taran here, Spades versus Stephano. Hope you guys have been enjoying the coverage thus far. It has been an absolute pleasure to bring most of these to you. It has been myself, Paying User, and HD that have been working round the clock to get these videos out to you guys, so we have quite a bit to go, and they will be actually leading us up to the actual IPL Season 2 itself, which is, of course, a $50,000 prize pool tournament. So, looks like Spades is going to bypass gas, or so I would imagine. Let's see here. There's the amount of money saved up for gas, and it looks like he is just getting rid of that. Oh, poor drone does go down, and Spades is going to throw down his second racks. There it is. So, 2 racks, a little bit of bunker pressure going to go down. Stephano, though, he is not deterred, throwing down a 14 hatch. He does decide to put up a drone right away. I guess that would have been the normal timings of a 15 hatch, but of course he did lose the drone that was in Spade's base, so that's what gives the appearance of it being a little bit weird as far as the supply count goes. Now Stephano's probably going to put up a pool. Hopefully he puts up pool before gas. There's the 200 minerals, and there's the pool. So he is going to have a little bit of work cut out for him. Spades is making his way out with his first SCV. A couple of Marines already queued up. Both players are prepping for what they know is about to happen, which is the 2 racks bunker push here out of Spades. And we'll see how Stephano decides to hold his spawning pool. Still got about 35 seconds left before it finishes. Spades does not actually start the construction of the first bunker right away. There's only 1 drone here for Stephano that is going ahead and warding off any bunker placement here for the time being. Spades is going to make his way back, though. We probably will see our first bunker here pretty soon. This hatchery still about 10 seconds before it finishes. Stephano gets in there, does a little bit of damage to this SCV. Spades is forced to retreat for the time being. He does have another SCV up, though. Bunker, that's good positioning on the Marine in the bunker because all the units are going to be forced into a choke here, and the Marine cannot be surrounded. Stephano, though, is responding really nicely. He does have the spine crawler down. He's only producing 6 lings at this point. We'll see if he just ends up producing a ridiculous amount of lings or what he's going to do. Here come all the rest of the drones now. They are going to be pulled. Is this bunker going to finish, though? The SCV is almost done. The bunker does finish. So Spades is going to establish a pretty good position here. Stephano putting up some more drones, but he is committing to a lot of Zerglings as well, so he is losing mining time. And this hatchery is suffering quite a bit of damage, already down a third of its health, and going to continue to drop as well. This bunker now giving so much range to those units that Queen almost falls as it is. And beautiful pressure here out of Spades. The rest of these Zerglings are going to have to make their way in. Spades doing a nice job of repairing this bunker. Just wants to go after the hatchery. Zerglings are going to swing around to the left here, as Stephano wants nothing more than to keep this hatchery alive. Bunker down to just 250 points of health, and these Zerglings are being obliterated. That bunker doing so well. No second SCV being brought up to go ahead and hold this as well. The hatchery is going to fall. There it goes. Spades gets himself a nice gain here at the beginning. Zerglings being brought in as well, and this is actually a lot of damage being suffered by Stephano. He's trying to put in as many Zerglings as he can now, but he is way behind on economy. Spades only just now starting that command center, though. He is putting up double gas at the same time and walling off, wary about some sort of a all-in move. A spine crawler is going to sit itself down. It's going to be able to take out the next bunker as well. Nice positioning on that. There we go. And Spades, it looks like, oh wow, the spine crawler was actually going after the bunker there for a little while. So Spades was actually able to do significant damage to the spine crawler and the Zerglings, but eventually Stephano does clean that up. Now, Stephano's going to have to re-expand right now, which she does. This spine crawler gets itself out of the ground so it doesn't continue to lose health. Always found that weird. Spine crawler can sit above the ground, regain health, but if it's burrowed and it loses its creep, it loses health. Makes sense in the game dynamic, just odd in a lore sense. Well, Spades, 1 lone marine, 2 lone marines there on the low ground. Feeling scared. Here come the Zerglings. They're going to make their way up. There's enough units, though, there that I think that Spades will be able to hold just fine. Baneling Nest is coming up. Obviously, Stephano's going to try and bust through, do economic damage. And, frankly, this could be pretty powerful. Spades has got a couple of bunkers coming up. He knows that a bust is imminent. However, if the Banelings just go right through the supply depot, and the Zerglings just kind of run themselves around the top of the base, there's nothing really here to defend. Spades is putting down a secondary bunker at the moment. Well, let's see what he's able to do, though. Stephano does have enough for a bunch of Banelings at the moment. Not morphing any of those in quite yet. And it looks like Spades is just loading up his bunker, so he's going to be pretty well defended. He's walling himself in very, very nicely here. Stephano is just about to finish up this hatchery. Taking a look, though, he is committing to drones pretty well. But he is way behind on economy. And very soon, Spades is going to have his next base up as well. Spine Crawler sitting itself down in good position to go ahead and defend the mineral line as well. Stephano has not gone after any sort of a bust yet, and it looks like he's just going to run away. Seems like it'd be a good idea for him to play Lucera style, you know, lots of Banelings and just super creep spread. Play a defensive game and just try and outflank his opponent. Looks like there's layer tech coming in, so we may see Baneling speed here pretty quick. Evolution Chamber going down as well, so there's a good possibility of melee upgrades. Well, let's see here. Spades going after Blue Flame Hellions to follow this up. He has not decided to drop down his orbital command on the natural yet. He's just abusing it for a bunch of mules and SCVs. But he's got to watch out, because he has a pretty good amount of SCVs just sitting on those mineral patches. It looks like 28 SCVs and 2 mules there. Poor Zergling gets rocked. And let's see. Gold expansion is cleared up for Stephano. We'll see if he decides to spread that out a little bit. He has not yet connected the creep yet. He has creep tour in place, so we could start spreading. That's going to allow him quite a bit of mobility. So Stephano has quite a few Zerglings. He's rallying a few more down, or at least there they are. +1 ground carapace coming up. There's Baneling speed. That's what I was waiting for. And he has enough excess money at the moment that he could drop down a gold expansion if he wanted to, if he wants to try and count on the fact that Spades isn't going to move out. Spades is going to do quite a bit of harassment. Looks like he's securing his natural expansion for now. Behind this pretty good push. This is a full-fledged attack. Stephano, he has Zerglings ready. He has some Banelings being morphed in, but he does not have the true mobility of the creep yet. And Spades, with a couple of spine crawlers up, should be able to ward off most of the Hellions alone, but there's a bunch of Marines that are tailing behind here. And let's see, the Banelings have themselves on creep. They'll let the Marines commit, and then they'll move in. Here come the Banelings. Banelings are going to make their way in. There's a lot of Zerglings here. The Banelings get a great burst. All of the Marines go down, and a couple of the Hellions as well. Beautiful amounts of damage being done. But Stephano is still playing from behind. He did a good job mitigating the amount of damage being done, and he's following it up with a bunch of drones as well. But during this, Spades has been able to establish his expansion. Finally, we see the SCV train being moved over. And what an SCV train it is. So he is almost mined out of his main. Good God. He's just taking out one base at a time, it appears. So Spades now has a ton of Hellions. He's going to make his way in and just try and push his way past the spine crawlers. The Banelings, though, have the mobility, if they're not all killed at once, so they're spread out, which it looks like Stephano's going to do that now, to do some pretty good damage to these Hellions. Of course, they do so much more damage against light units. Let's see, another 28 Zerglings and a Spire coming up now for Stephano. Really curious to see how he follows this up. Spade's going to go after another base, it appears. Maybe just running around with his SCV for the time being. does have quite a few SCVs. 53 SCVs for these two bases at this point in the game is a lot. He has not gone to a starport yet, to the best of my recollection. Nope, does not appear as though any sort of starport is done. He's swinging around here through the top left with these Hellions. Not going to find an expansion, just a macro hatch, which Stephano may be gearing up for a big old-fashioned push. Finally, an expansion coming down for Spades. He has not cleared off these rocks of the destructible rocks, though. And here comes Spades through Tasteless' secret hallway. Spades going to make his way in, throws down the scan, sees there's not much in the way of defense. Bailing's doing a good job of positioning themselves around and making sure they're not killed outright by the Hellions. Right now, Stephano trying to win the positioning war so we can flank at the same time, pin those units in, and then attack with a bunch of Banelings. Spades holding pretty well. He has been ahead basically this entire game. But looks like Stephano is going to have another 12 drones here in a second. And honestly, because of the amount of minerals that he has left on his main, he's in a pretty good position economically. Now, if Spades is able to establish his next base, that's going to be devastating for Stephano. Continuing the creep spread, needs to do quite a bit more. Income tab shows that the economy is actually a little bit better for Stephano at the moment because of his more efficient mining. There's only 4 mineral patches here, and they have very few minerals left. So Spade's going to run out quite a bit there. We see +1 melee attacks just about to finish. +1 bio attacks only now coming up for Spades. He has not invested in upgrades all that much yet. More worried about his tech for the meantime. And there we finally have the gold expansion coming down for Stephano. Mutalisk is making their way out, and there's actually not that many Marines here. They're kind of staggered in the middle of the tanks, though, which was pretty good positioning. Stephano was not really ready for that. And he actually does force a stim out of those Marines. That's going to drop down the effectiveness of the medevac quite a bit. Look at that. Another stim goes down. Spade's going to take a while to heal that up. Could swing in with a good number of units before the planetary comes up and equalize the economy here between the two players, because Spades is going to pull ahead again now that he has the gold mining, and look at all those mules dropping down. So Stephano about to finish that up, going to +1 weapons for air. And let's see here. I don't know. He's got quite a few excess minerals, not a ton of excess gas, so it's not like this is all going to go into Mutalisks. He could put up, well, that's a good way to do it. Double hatch. That's a good way to use your minerals. And no swarm of Zerglings or anything like that, though. Oh, nice job. Gets in here. Manages to pick off 1, 2, 3, 4. He gets 5 Hellions almost for free. Beautiful. And an SCV, and he's going to move right in to the main. Uh-oh, he's got to watch out, make sure he doesn't get sandwiched between these Marines. Does lose 1 Mutalisk, but still manages to kill a ton of units. Looks like triple hatch actually coming out of Stephano. And he is still playing from behind in terms of sheer army. And look at that economic difference. Beautiful mules on the gold. Does make an enormous difference, and Spades is way up in terms of economy. He hasn't really done much with the upgrade game, though. And with good creep spread, Stephano can still manage to get in there and pin this army, especially if Spades does something like unsiege his tanks at the wrong time. And it looks like Stephano is going to gather all of his Mutalisks up. He has 16 of them, forces yet another stim out of Spades. This medevac just continuing to lose its energy. Oh, a nice job there. Stephano just morphing in more Banelings, going to melee attacks level 2. And wow, putting down another hatch over at the 3 o'clock position. So he will actually be on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases with a macro hatch. And if Spades is contained by these Mutalisks for much longer, that production is going to kick in, and Stephano's going to be able to reproduce his army very, very quickly. This is very interesting. This is a weird dynamic here. Spades playing as passively as you can after that initial attempt at harassment. And looks like Spades does scan, picks off 1 creep tumor and a Zergling, but that's about all. And let's see here. Take back a look at the economy. Looks like Stephano is ahead when you take mules out of the equation. Because he is mining on so many bases and his efficiency is that much better. 5 more Mutalisks coming up. Both players are about to be maxed. Of course, the Zergling Baneling army for Stephano that's out is not terribly cost-effective. Unless he gets that very key burst. He's really got to hope that... Ooh, wow, Spades actually was on siege there for a while, but actually had enough tanks sieged up that he still would have been fine. He's really got to hope, though, that either Spades runs in and wastes his army on these Banelings, or if Stephano does some damage, that he's able to turn around and reproduce his army very quickly. Look at how quick he's going through refineries and such. Spades still on 3 base here. Not really sure why, because he's about mined out, or getting low on his natural. Spades starting the slow push forward, though. And here comes Stephano. He's going to make his way in. And tanks are falling very quickly, but these Mutalisks are getting torn up. They just ran into a group of Marines. Looks like Stephano not going to move in anymore. Loses a couple of Mutalisks. Has to pull back. Spades did get the better of that engagement. But, of course, just look at the way that Stephano can reproduce. Another 8 Mutalisks, 46 Zerglings, and Hive coming up at the same time. There is an Infestation pit down. I would imagine that he'll convert over to Infestor Tech in a bit. So he does have so much gas coming in as well. Manages to pick off another medevac. So he's doing a beautiful job. I mean, he's got these bases over here to the right and left as well, if he wants to start using them. This has been a relatively passive game, though. So let's see. It looks like another base coming down for Spades, finally going to his 4th. Is there a Zergling burrowed? There is. Oh, so cute. And wow, he actually has an opportunity to move in and do some pretty good damage here. Spades going to pull away a few burrowed Banelings. I like that as well. And those siege tanks were actually in range of the unit, so he has to watch out. Stephano, though, he's going to come over here, and he is going to take out this command center. Takes out the Viking first. Command center already suffering quite a bit of damage. And if these Marines move away, it may be time for Stephano to move in with the Zerglings. We'll find out. Command center does go down. Beautiful. Don't believe he lost a Mutalisk. Lost some health on some. But I don't think he lost a single unit there. Beautiful. So, Spades putting up another command center as soon as possible. May come to a situation where he has to actually move his main in a second. And, oh, scan goes down. Poor burrowed Banelings. You always like to see those have maximum effect. And here's the army for Stephano. Both players are maxed. Both players are banking resources. Both players are upgrading. Greater Spire is coming. And Spade's going to start making his way in with a few Marines and a Thor. Just suffering some losses there. Maybe clearing up some supply. Nope, looks like he's going to go right back into some more Marines. And all of these Mutalisks are ready to exact their damage on Spades units. So we have once again a little bit of a standoff. Stephano going to move back, loses 1 Mutalisk to that Thor. +1 upgrade's going to be very good there. Level 3 melee attacks coming up for Stephano. And he does have such melee attacks in progress that he'll probably transition over to Ultralisks as well, although the Broodlords are going to be oh so strong against the Siege Tank Marine composition, especially if he's able to protect from those Marines. Poor thing does go down there. Spinecrawler bit the dust. And Banelings managed to kill quite a few Marines. Both players are almost maxed once again. Spade's able to produce 14 Marines at a time. This burrowed Zergling still being as annoying as possible, but there are a ton of missile turrets up there. More units running forward, trying to pick off the economy here. But this has already been pretty well mined, so the hatchery will fall. But Stephano still has plenty of production. He's just going to transfer his drones over to the right. He's got that base available. Could transfer them over to the left. Has that base available. Spades is going to make his way up here to the top left. This actually could do quite a bit of damage. Looks like this is going to force Stephano to attack at the very least, bringing a few units back. He's got Banelings coming in as well. And the Banelings do manage to take out all but 1, 2, 3 of the Marines. The rest of the units coming down here, going against a prepared position. Spades is trading where he's maintaining his supply. And Stephano is going to clear up this attack here to the top left. Hatchery is intact. And we see 4 Broodlords morphing in addition to 8 more Corruptors being made. So, wow. Stephano is going to have a ridiculous force of Broodlords here in a second. And as far ahead as Spades was, I would have thought that he would have used drops here earlier in this game, trying to equalize that difference. or not equalize the difference, I apologize, to get further ahead and crush his opponent. Zergling's joining the fight. Level 3 attacks just finished. Bunch of Mutalisks up to help defend. And a ton of Broodlords. Let's see here, Broodlords in the back. We'll see if he waits for everything. Looks like he's just going to send up his first few. Spades is wasting SCVs at this point. He wants to clear up supply. This is intentional. And he'll just continue to use his mules for economy. But Spades at the moment, I mean, look at this. He's only mining off of one base. Broodlords making their way forward. Do manage to pick off a couple of missile turrets. Corruptors taking the damage, and the Mutalisks as well. So the Broodlords have do whatever damage they want. And looks like 1, 2, 3, and a third mining bases left over for Stephano still. So he's going to be able to reproduce his army so quickly. Although Spades does have a ton of units banked in. Oh my god, these aren't sieged! He doesn't want the splash damage to kill his own Marines, but man, they are going to do almost no damage. Here come the rest of the air units now. For Stephano, he's got to watch out and make sure that his buffer doesn't get annihilated by this Marine force. And it looks like all of these Burrow Banelings are going to go down. Stephano pulls away. But he's doing such a nice job. He's got so many Broodlords. Spades is just going Marine after Marine after Marine. No Vikings to support this at the moment. Knows he can't go against this air army. The Planetary Fortress is going to fall. Has 92 kills, but they're pretty much all Broodlings. Oh, actually, Stephano loses quite a few Mutalisks there. He's got to back up his Broodlords here. This is beautiful play, though, out of Stephano. I mean, he seriously came back in this game. Spades did nothing to punish these subsequent bases. And Stephano manages to take out yet another bunker. Don't forget, folks, Spades down to one mining base, and all of his minerals are gone. His economic rate is nothing. So Stephano is in a beautiful position now up by 40 supply. A few Vikings finally being brought in. There's the Corruptors that I was looking for. And those Corruptors are going to deal their damage. Vikings fall. Stephano now with 10 Broodlords here. And he is just producing another 5 Corruptors. He knows he has this in the bag. This was a hard-fought game from Spades, and he was up at so many points. Sad to see him go down the way he did. Spades going to lose this base. The Broodlords could just head to the right a little bit. Off to the east, and rock the next base as well. Spades would not really be able to hold up against that. He is producing as many as he can, and he throws down the GG, and Spades has left the game. So congratulations to Stephano, who comes back from being so far behind. Produced, I mean, what did he throw down? 4 bases at once, I believe, at one point? And Spades just never punished it. So Stephano does take game number 1 in this best of 3 round of 5-12 action at the IPL Season 2 qualifiers. This is from Qualifier number 2. And don't forget, guys, we're going to have game number 2 in just seconds, so don't go anywhere.